Have you ever heard the saying, "Don't trade what's certain for what's uncertain"? In the high-stakes world of the National Hockey League, sometimes the most agonizing decisions involve precisely that, moving a known quantity, however inconsistent, for a potentially game-changing solution. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, a franchise perpetually under the microscope, the 2025 offseason has been less about certainty and more about the tantalizing, yet unsettling prospect of a seismic shift. When a star player's brilliance flickers and the championship window feels like it's narrowing, how desperately do you crave a reliable, battle-tested warrior, even if it means saying goodbye to a fan favorite? The whispers have grown into a roar. Bryan Rust, the gritty, two-time Stanley Cup champion from Pittsburgh, is on the radar. Is he merely a stopgap, or the precise ingredient the Leafs need to finally bake that elusive championship cake? And what does this bold, potentially controversial move truly mean for a team and a fan-base start for playoff success? The Toronto Maple Leafs, off-season, always feels like a meticulously crafted, yet wildly unpredictable grandma's cake recipe. It's full of strange ingredients, some seemingly out of place, but with the fervent hope that if everything goes right, the final product will be nothing short of delicious. This year, there's a new ingredient being talked about, and it's not powdered sugar or vanilla extract. It's rust. And this isn't the kind of rust you want to avoid. This is Bryan Rust, a name that conjures images of 30-goal seasons, invaluable playoff experience, 2 Stanley Cups, and a contract that, for what he brings, is remarkably fair. On the other side of this potential culinary exchange, the Pittsburgh Penguins are starting to look in the mirror, asking themselves the uncomfortable but necessary question: is it finally time to rebuild this storied roster? The trade proposal is on the table, the pieces are there, but does it truly make sense for both sides? Let's break down this complex concoction together, from the hushed behind-the-scenes negotiations to Bryan Rust's real, tangible impact in the Leafs' top 6. Can he truly replace the offensive wizardry of Mitch Marner? And what do the Penguins gain from this, beyond 3 players that to some might look like leftovers from the back of Toronto's fridge? Today, we dive deep into this speculative, yet increasingly plausible proposal. So, pull up a chair, grab your coffee or a cold beer depending on the hour, and let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs' relentless search for a new top 6 winger. This isn't just about adding depth, it's about filling the gaping hole that Mitch Marner will inevitably leave. Whether it's through a blockbuster trade, a cap-forced restructuring, or simply the natural wear and tear in the relationship between a superstar player and a demanding franchise, the undeniable fact remains. This team desperately needs a new offensive reference point, a consistent presence who can deliver when the stakes are highest. And that's precisely where Bryan Rust comes onto the radar. According to reputable sources like the Fourth Period, Rust's name has been circulating in trade discussions for a while now. What makes him particularly appealing from a transactional standpoint is his lack of trade protection, which significantly eases the complexities of any potential deal. Yes, at 33 years old, he's not a long-term youth solution, but he's coming off a solid 30-goal season, proving his offensive capabilities are still very much intact. Crucially, he's healthy, plays meaningful minutes in all situations, and most importantly, he's a proven playoff performer. He embodies that quiet grit, that unyielding determination that shows up when the bright lights are brightest and the stars, at times, tend to fade. The speculative trade proposal itself appears deceptively simple on the surface. The Leafs receive Bryan Rust, and in return, the Penguins acquire Kaye Jarnkrok, David Kampf, and a promising young defenseman, Henry Thrun. But behind that apparent simplicity lies a tactical, emotional, and even political complexity that demands a calm, thorough analysis. Let's take a couple of steps back to fully grasp the context. The 2024-25 season ended on a bittersweet note for the Leafs. Austin Matthews continued his elite scoring, William Nylander exploded offensively, but Marner fluctuated between flashes of brilliance and frustratingly quiet nights, particularly when the games mattered most. The fan base, growing increasingly impatient with repeated playoff disappointments, is starting to demand real, tangible change. And management, acutely aware of the salary cap constraints and the need to retool, knows you can't keep this core together indefinitely without giving up at least one valuable piece. The Penguins, meanwhile, began a partial sell-off at the last trade deadline. They moved out expiring contracts and tried to trade Rust then, but the asking price scared teams off. Now, with a quieter summer and more time to structure better offers, the landscape has shifted. Toronto, with its urgent need and available assets, has emerged as one of the top suitors. This isn't the first time the Leafs and Penguins have flirted with a trade. Both franchises understand the immense value of veteran players in a championship pursuit and how heavily critical decisions weigh in their respective demanding markets. Toronto wants to win now, with its core still in its prime. Pittsburgh, while acknowledging the need for a refresh, still wants to stay competitive, a delicate balancing act. This potential trade is the precise point where both of these distinct, yet converging, needs intersect. Let's start with Bryan Rust himself. He's not flashy, he won't dominate highlight reels with dazzling dekes, but he is extremely dependable. Over the last 5 seasons, he has consistently scored, tallying more than 110 goals, a testament to his offensive consistency. He's a quick transition player, smart without the puck, and excellent on the forecheck, relentlessly pursuing pucks and creating turnovers. His average ice time last season was over 17 minutes per game, a clear indicator of the coaching staff's trust in him in all situations, from power play to penalty kill. His contract, at $5.125 million through 2027, isn't a bargain basement deal, but it's fair for what he brings, especially in a market inflated by contracts like John Tavares's and Marner's, which both surpass $10 million. Rust offers a high-value, high-reliability return for his cap hit. Now, let's examine the pieces heading to Pittsburgh. Kalle Jarnkrok is a versatile forward who can play either wing, solid on the penalty kill, and possesses a decent shot. His $2.1 million cap hit makes him an attractive, movable piece. David Kampf is excellent in the face-off circle and a truly great defensive forward, though his offensive production is very limited. His $2.4 million cap hit adds further flexibility. And then there's Henry Thrun, a promising young left-shot defenseman with a high hockey IQ. He could potentially become a 4th or even 3rd defenseman in the rotation for the Penguins, offering a much-needed injection of youth and potential. Together, Jarnkrok, Kampf, and Thrun total approximately $5.8 million in cap space, which would give the Leafs slight cap relief and open up a crucial roster spot, allowing them to potentially pursue other complementary pieces or retain existing talent. Beyond the numbers and the on-ice statistics, Rust is one of those guys who wins over the locker room quietly through sheer effort and professionalism. When he first arrived in Pittsburgh, many doubted he'd stick around. He was perceived as too small for the physical game, not highly touted. But he proved everyone wrong with his relentless effort and hockey smarts. He won 2 cups and effectively became an extension of the coach on the ice, a true leader by example. Jarnkrok, for his part, is known as a consummate professional, never complaining about which line he's on, always ready to step in when there's an injury. Kampf, meanwhile, is highly respected in the room, a quiet leader who embodies defensive responsibility. And Thrun, still a bit of a mystery to the wider NHL audience, comes with excellent marks in the development system, signaling a bright future. In Toronto, Rust would slide straight into the top 6, likely next to Auston Matthews and Max Domi, or possibly with William Nylander, depending on the lineup configuration. He brings something Marner, for all his brilliance, doesn't always provide: a more direct vertical play style, a quick release, and less dependence on open ice to be effective. He thrives in traffic and gets to the net, exactly what the Leafs need. In Pittsburgh, Jarnkrok could easily eat up top 6 minutes if needed, providing immediate roster flexibility. Kampf becomes a reliable shutdown and penalty kill option, a known quantity for a team looking to maintain some defensive structure. Thrun can compete for a spot in training camp and develop over the season, offering long-term upside. This trade resembles recent successful moves like Blake Coleman to the Flames or even Zach Hyman to the Oilers. Players who don't necessarily shine on their own, but help the stars shine brighter. Rust fits that mold perfectly. Bo Horvat, Sam Reinhart, Brandon Saad, all were traded at similar points in their careers and all exceeded expectations when inserted into structured systems with elite talent. The precedent is firmly on Rust's side. Insiders like Frank Saravalli have emphatically stated that Rust is one of the most underrated names on the market. Whoever gets him is getting a leader and a finisher. Anthony Stewart adds, Toronto needs players like that. Marner is brilliant, but Rust gets things done. He provides that vital, consistent two-way presence. For the Leafs, this trade represents a strategic masterstroke. They replace Marner with a consistent, playoff-proven veteran, clear crucial cap space, and stay fiercely competitive without sacrificing their future assets. For the Penguins, they receive highly tradable pieces in Jarnkrok and Kampf, who could easily become additional draft picks at a future deadline, gain valuable youth with Thrun, and transition wisely into their next competitive phase. Imagine the perfect fit. Rust becomes a consistent 25 to 30 goal scorer in Toronto, providing that crucial net front presence and secondary scoring. Matthews rediscovers his absolute best game with a reliable, gritty winger by his side. Domi or Nylander thrives under Rust's complementary style. On the other side, Jarnkrok becomes a valuable trade chip in February, netting the Penguins another asset. Kampf locks down penalty kill duties and provides veteran leadership in Pittsburgh. Thrun becomes a regular in their defensive core within 2 years. Does this trade finally help the Leafs break through the second-round curse that has haunted them for so long? There are no guarantees in hockey, but trades like this, bold and strategically sound, lay the essential groundwork for deep playoff runs. So, what do you think, Leafs Nation? Does this trade make undeniable sense to you? Or are you in the camp that sees Rust as just duct tape on a potentially sinking ship, a temporary fix for a deeper issue? Drop your thoughts below in the comment section. Who do you believe truly wins this trade, the Leafs or the Penguins? And perhaps the most burning question of all, would you keep Mitch Marner hoping for a resurgence or trade him now while he still holds maximum value? We want to hear your passionate, unfiltered opinions. If you found this deep dive insightful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming videos. In the coming weeks, we'll dive into other fascinating trade possibilities, including one involving a certain team from Ottawa that has its eyes on another intriguing target. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.